Compliance isn't just a box to check, it's a fundamental requirement. Organizations must follow state and federal regulations to operate. The real challenge is deciding how to meet these requirements in the most effective way. Here is what we'll be covering today. First, we'll explore the regulatory landscape and its complexities. Next, we'll discuss the interconnected nature of compliance and the trends driving change. Finally, we'll share why outsourcing compliance can free up resources and support growth. So let's dig into the compliance landscape. Compliance is non-negotiable. Organizations must follow laws and regulations or risk penalties, losing their right to operate and harming their reputation. Effective compliance hinges on mastering four key areas: entity registration, record keeping, licensing, and tax obligations. Compliance requirements are rarely isolated. For instance, registering for taxes in a new state may trigger the need to register your legal entity there. Similarly, applying for licenses often requires proof of existing compliance. A disconnected approach increases inefficiencies and risks, underscoring the importance of integrated compliance management. I have a brief poll question to know where you get your updates on these kinds of changes. And we're going to launch that in a second here. All right, so the poll is open. Feel free to select the answer that best fits your current situation. We'll give it a few minutes here and then move on forward. We have a lot of answers filtering in here. It looks like the majority, however, about half manage the requirements themselves. Some are using an accountant. Others have a registered agent or spreadsheets that help manage. Appreciate everybody providing their feedback in the poll. So next, let's discuss the major macroeconomic trends that are driving regulatory compliance. While higher interest rates have slowed borrowing for some, mergers and acquisitions remain a dominant growth strategy in many sectors, and compliance plays a critical role in this process. Organizations in good standing have a significant advantage. They can acquire or be acquired without delays or complications. But compliance considerations don't stop there. Post-deal steps like deciding which entities will survive, winding down subsumed entities, and managing licenses and tax registrations are crucial for a smooth transition and long-term success. The shift to remote work has expanded the regulatory footprint of many organizations, while some companies are encouraging a return to the office. Remote work arrangements are here to stay for many. As employees work from more states, businesses must register to operate in these locations, manage taxes, and ensure proper licensing. So now I have another poll question, which is how many of you have direct experience with with these types of out-of-state registrations and requirements? Give it a minute here to let the responses filter in. So it looks like about half are relying on regular proactive research, about 25% on industry publications, and then accountants and industry peers are also relied upon, with about 30% or so doing no proactive research. Again, thank you for everybody for submitting the poll questions, and we'll get moving on to the next slide. So now in terms of sales tax exposure and compliance, the South Dakota versus Wayfair Inc. decision was a game changer for sales tax obligations. While it may not have received as much attention as it might have under normal circumstances, given its timing shortly before the COVID-19 pandemic, its impact has been profound and is still being felt today. That said, ignorance of this decision isn't a defense and enforcement is real. Businesses now face obligations in states where they may have no physical presence, requiring proactive attention to avoid penalties. And as you can see here, 45 states and Washington, D.C. collect sales tax, and the map shows you where you may be obligated to submit sales tax and where this is not required. And now one more quick check, and this is how you would describe your sales tax registration status. Are you fully registered everywhere you need to be, still figuring things out, or not sure where to start? You can drop your answer in the chat, and we'd love to hear where you're at. On average, government red tape only increases over time. Another key trend is the increasing proliferation of regulatory reporting requirements. A prime example is the new beneficial ownership information reporting requirement brought about by the Corporate Transparency Act that took effect last year. These regulations mandate organizations to disclose their significant ownership details to enhance transparency and accountability. This adds another layer of complexity to an already challenging compliance landscape, reinforcing the need for proactive management. As of March 21st, 2025, FinCEN announced an interim final rule that domestic reporting companies, otherwise known as businesses that were formed in the United States, are no longer required to file BOI reports. For now, only foreign reporting companies are required to file. But FinCEN continues to emphasize the importance of BOI reporting. We have consistent updates on our blog as they become available, so feel free to check those out to keep up to date on this requirement. With the rise of remote work, expanded sales tax obligations, and consolidation activity, it's clear that nearly every organization operates across state lines today. Managing regulatory complexity has become a universal challenge that requires a strategic approach. It also means fewer and fewer businesses are able to achieve and maintain comprehensive compliance, meaning those that do are truly differentiated versus the competition. And now for the final poll question, which is related to how you're managing these key takeaways. So it looks like a majority of the attendees here will likely need to register in a new state in the next 6 months, with some that have never registered out of state and don't plan to, and a little bit of a larger amount that have registered out of state in the past, but the footprint isn't likely going to change again soon. Again, thank you everybody for answering the poll questions. We'll now move on to the next slide. So the next topic that we're going to cover are the drawbacks of taking a do-it-yourself approach to regulatory compliance. Let's admit it, managing government paperwork isn't exactly a passion project for most people. But here's the thing. Here at Harbor Compliance, we love it. Yes, we're those compliance nerds who get excited about filing deadlines and regulatory nuances, and we embrace it wholeheartedly. We know it's not for everyone, and that's okay. We're here to help everyone that can't stand the thought of doing another filing. Too often, this stuff falls on the plate of an overworked admin or a team member who already has a full-time job. It can be a little thankless and a lot tedious. But here's the good news. We're on your side, ready to partner with you to lighten the load and make the process more manageable. Dare we say, even enjoyable. We handle the details so your team can get back to the work they actually care about. Accountants and attorneys are rock stars in their fields, whether it's navigating complex tax strategies or providing invaluable legal counsel. But let's face it, multi-state compliance, that's not exactly their idea of a good time. They'll probably thank you for sparing them the headache of keeping up with regulatory technicalities and letting them focus on what they really excel at. And for any accountants or attorneys joining us on today's webinar, first, thank you for being here. If you've ever dreamed of offloading those regulatory tasks to someone you trust, we'd love to chat. We specialize in the nitty-gritty so you can stick to what you know best and enjoy the process a whole lot more. The hidden costs of delayed compliance. Procrastinating on compliance may not seem like a big deal until you're in the middle of a fire drill. These last-minute scrambles often occur at the worst times, like right before a major bid or an expansion opportunity. And if something slips through the cracks, the consequences can be severe. These include falling out of good standing or facing licensing issues that can disrupt operations entirely with costly delays. But it's not just the business at risk here. These crises take a toll on your team. The stress of constant firefighting, especially for employees who already wear too many hats, leads to burnout, frustrations, and inefficiency. Proactive compliance management isn't just about avoiding business risks, it's about fostering a healthier, more suitable work environment for your team. Next topic is the strategic partnership advantage. Harbor Compliance delivers unmatched expertise in multi-state compliance. From purpose-built technology to extensive requirements data and proven multi-state expertise, we ensure your compliance needs are handled seamlessly. Through our strategic partnerships with accountants and attorneys, we provide a comprehensive strategy for your organization. By partnering with compliance experts, your organization can avoid last-minute crises, maintain smooth operations, and ensure uninterrupted growth. Manage being able to hire that perfect candidate in any state without hesitation, confidently bid on projects across jurisdictions, knowing you'll meet all requirements, and expand your product offerings to new markets without fear of tax complications. A strategic approach to compliance is not just about avoiding penalties, it's about creating a stable foundation that empowers your business to say yes to opportunities the moment they arise. When compliance is handled proactively, you're free to focus on what matters most, growing your business. So let's take a look at a routine process for a multi-state business, hiring an employee in a new jurisdiction for the first time. Hiring a new employee might sound straightforward, but ensuring that they can be paid requires opening payroll tax accounts in their jurisdiction. This process often lands on HR, but it's really a tax compliance task. HR teams find themselves in the middle, coordinating with payroll providers, accounting and finance, and sometimes even external accounting firms. Relying on a compliance partner like Harbor Compliance with experience opening payroll tax accounts in every state can make this process far smoother. First-hand knowledge of the process allows them to navigate jurisdiction-specific requirements, minimize delays, and significantly reduce the risk of mistakes. The right partner will handle the heavy lifting, so all your team needs to do is provide the new account numbers to your payroll provider. With a proactive compliance management approach, you can eliminate confusion, streamline this process, and reduce friction, keeping the hiring process moving smoothly. Quick question for everyone. Have you set up payroll in a new jurisdiction for the first time in the past 12 months? Drop a quick yes or no in the chat. We'd love to see where everyone stands on this. Payroll tax registration doesn't exist in isolation. It often requires foreign qualification, which means registering your business with the new state Secretary of State. This process allows your business to legally operate in another state. It also involves appointing a registered agent to handle official communications and compliance documentation in that state. Using a nationwide registered agent provider like Harbor Compliance simplifies this process significantly. We can serve as your registered agent across all states and handle entity filing seamlessly. While routine foreign qualification can still add complexity and ongoing obligations like annual report filings, which we can also offload for you. And since we have experience with these processes in every state, it allows you to take a proactive approach and anticipate these needs upfront. This helps you avoid scrambling between HR, accounting, and legal teams and ensures requirements are met without disrupting your business. When foreign qualification is completed, businesses often discover that obtaining licenses is the next hurdle. Whether you're in a regulated industry or not, many states require general business licenses for all entity types. Legal teams, sometimes with the help of outside counsel, are typically involved in this process, but it's another layer of complexity. With a proactive compliance partner like Harbor Compliance, that can help you see these challenges coming. You can integrate licensing into your workflow, saving time and reducing stress. Finally, once tax accounts, entity registration, and licenses are sorted, corporate records must be updated. This step often requires legal and executive involvement as they are the teams typically responsible for managing organizational records. You might be wondering how hiring an employee could trigger updates to your corporate records. Under the Corporate Transparency Act, businesses must keep their corporate details up to date with FinCEN through BOI reporting. If a business foreign qualifies in a new state and their name is unavailable, they may need to use a forced assume name. While this doesn't happen every time, such naming changes can require an updated BOI report. Failing to report these changes promptly can result in costly penalties. In summary, even basic operations like hiring an employee in a new jurisdiction can quickly snowball and require inputs from across the business. By partnering with the right compliance vendor that can assist you across entity, records, licensing, and tax, you can stay ahead of these requirements, reduce your stress, and avoid last-minute surprises. Now, we'd like to open the floor for your questions. Please use the question and answer feature to share any queries, and we'll address as many as time permits. If you'd like to learn more about how we can work together or support your organization, please get in touch. As I mentioned at the start of the presentation, today's session is eligible for continuing education through Earmark. You can use the QR code on the screen now to download the Earmark app. And after the session concludes, we'll email out a 5-question quiz. Once you complete the quiz, you'll receive your CPE certificate. So as the Q&A questions come in, you can take the next step in streamlining your compliance process by considering scheduling a consultation or taking advantage of our free assessments. Our team is here to help you succeed. Okay. So now is a time to, so Dean, looks like is asking if harbor compliance works with nonprofit organizations. The answer is yes. We have a nonprofit side called Labyrinth that specializes in charitable registrations, commercial co-ventures, anything involved in the nonprofit side of compliance. Lynette is asking um, if our if Harbor Compliance offers checklists for compliance so that the team can do the work in-house. So we have a few ways that we can approach this. The Information Center in our website has a wealth of compliance related information that's free of cost that you can check out at any time. It's broken down both in a general level and a state by state level. We also, through our software suite, can provide customizable notifications ahead of compliance due dates, such as annual reports, a search engine to look up requirement related information online, and we also recently introduced a new compliance navigator AI tool where you can search for checklists, reports, basically anything that you would need to know for any specific filing or compliance process. And it will provide all of that information to you. All the information is sourced and pulled from primary sources such as government websites, licensing boards, scholarly journals, legal websites, etc. So yes, we do. There's different ways that you can obtain that information, and we'd be happy to connect with you after the call to kind of discuss the options in more detail. So any other questions here before we wrap up the call? Perfect. Well, appreciate everybody joining us. Like I said earlier, feel free to reach out if there's any questions that come up, and they certainly do after the call. Feel free to email us, call us. We're more than happy to schedule, a one-on-one conversation to dig into any specific compliance related questions or challenges you're facing. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for your time, and have a great rest of your week.